That's appropriate.
I probably should have put this light on. Let me see. Oh, that's too light. Ooh.
Good evening, everybody. We do not own the rights to this music,
But we do like it. So I want to welcome you to another episode of Vulnerable Voices. We're glad to have you with us this evening. We have two wonderful guests. They're going to come to us on Stay Woke Wednesday, and we're talking about the almighty black dollar. That's right, black owned businesses. So we have some gentlemen that are at the top of their game, and we're going to learn from these guys today. But before we go to our introductions and get to know each of them a little better, I just want to put something on your mind. Today, this particular word has come up often. I had several meetings today, several phone calls, and yet and still, each one, somehow, some way, this particular word came up. And that word is love. And so I just want you to really concentrate and think on the word love and the power of it. And I really, truly believe that love can truly change the world. When you love each other, you don't judge each other. When you love each other, you give each other some space and you lead with some empathy. So I'm just asking everyone in the audience that's listening today, let's love a little bit more. Let's erase some of the hate. We can't put our arms around each other right now because of COVID, but call somebody, text somebody, and just let them know that you love them. And that's all I have for you today, Paul. So without further ado, we want to hear from our two special guests, Eddie and Lotto, we have here today. And I'm going to allow each of these fellows to introduce themselves. Eddie, let's start with you.
Okay, how you doing? I'm Eddie Hammond, and actually me and Paul, childhood friends. So we go way back. And I'm involved in real estate, the construction industry, also the owner of a bar lounge. And, that's just some of the things that I do at this moment. Also have a foundation that Paul is a part of as well. We do a lot of give backs in the city, especially in the past. But that's pretty much it in a nutshell. What I do, we could get into it further, but I just want to give a quick elevator pitch on the things that I'm involved in.
Awesome. Sounds good.
Now we got Lotto here. I think he might be having some technical difficulties. You there, brother? So he may be having some technical difficulties. I'm sure he'll jump back in, and we'll give this brother an opportunity to introduce himself. Oh, here he comes.
There he is.
There we go.
I don't know what's going on. It kind of just blocked me out. But you know what I'm saying? I'm back like I never left. It's your boy, Sir Lottery, formerly known as Street Lotto, owner of Triple OG brand. I'm right up in here. You know what I'm saying? Wanted to enjoy this conversation today. You know what I'm saying? I feel good. It's a great day to be alive.
I'm repping the Triple OG brand too. You see it here,
That's not right. That's not right. Y'all have to share some love. Now I'm feeling some kind of way. I need some Triple OG in my life too.
You know what? That ain't a hard thing to make happen because Triple OG stands for the omnipotent opportunities of God. The opportunities are endless. So you know what? I think we could make something like that happen.
Let's do it.
Okay, that sounds good. Sounds like good stuff, man. So, we got your brothers here today, and, I appreciate y'all for being here. we wanted to talk about Black business, Black dollar, the importance of it. And so as we were throwing around the topic, I said, I know two brothers that are very successful businessmen, and let's talk about it. But y'all weren't always successful businessmen. So how did you get there? So what steps did it take? How did you get there? But give a little bit of the struggle, because, with COVID out here, there's a lot of people out there struggling, and I know E's story really well, but I'm going to let him tell it because it's not my place to tell it. So I'm going to let him tell it. And Lotto, we've talked too and wrapped it up. So chopped it up. I want you brothers to kind of just, how did you get there? Because there's so many people that start and don't succeed, and you guys are successful. But tell us about the struggle. Where did it start at for y'all? So Lotto, you want to kick it off a little bit?
Yeah. So, for those who don't know, I went by the name Street Lotto for a long time, up until like last week. You know what I mean? I just got tired of people using my name, man. Everybody calling themselves Lotto, Big Lotto, Lotto this. And, I've been pushing Lotto for like the last, 15, 16 years. And it's like, it's time to graduate to Sir Lottery. But I say all that to say my lane was music, always has been music. And it's something as a creative, you know what I mean? That was just my outlet to express myself, you know what I mean? And through expressing myself musically, I learned how to market myself. And, if you know anything about music and entertainment, you constantly got to change. You know what I mean? You got to evolve. You got to reinvent yourself all the time. I mean, you look at Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, Diddy, Daddy, you know what I mean? Like, you got to constantly change. Well, at one point, you might change every couple years. But with the internet and the way that it is, you have to evolve daily. You understand what I'm saying? So with that being said, when I came into doing my own brand as far as clothing, which was I derived it from making music. Triple OG was actually a song that I had. I was making T-shirts for a song, like to sell, promoting a song. And it went way past any music I had ever made before. And it wasn't until about a year later that I realized what I actually had on my hand. And I was able to cultivate it because I had been cultivating my career the whole time. I never had management or any strong representation out there to do it. I had to do it for myself. And I think as a business person, going along the journey, you learn things through marketing yourself. You try all kind of things and you figure out what works. And, anything that we do has to have a purpose bigger than us. If it doesn't have a purpose bigger than us, it'll never work because it's all about you. Nobody else can relate to it. So if I had a bunch of Hi, I'm Lotto shirts, it would never win because how could you guys relate to that? You know what I mean? It don't mean nothing to you. So, it's all about having a purpose-driven situation, and it just helps you to continue to evolve.
What about you, E? Well, tell us about your story a little bit. How you got to where you're at with things.
I think it started with the courage to step out on faith. When I was in high school, I was in a electrical engineering program, and that was kind of like my first love. And I had a co-op program with Kodak, and I could vividly remember, man, they wanted. I was selected 5 out of 500 students, and they offered me a job after high school, and I turned it down because they didn't want me to go to school full time. Instead, they wanted me to work full time. And then after 2 or 4 years, they would pay for me to go to school, but it was part time. And we're talking about, this was 1996. They had offered me like 36, 38,000. And that's a long time ago, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I turned it down. Me and my dad was so, but you have to have the courage. That's what I said. It's courage to step out of faith. I knew it was more for me than that. If I would have took that opportunity, then I probably would have been content. You know what I mean? At that age, and then I would have moved up. Of course, I probably would have been content, and it would have never allowed me to kind of explore my entrepreneurial spirits. But I just wasn't afraid to try different things. And I think that's the most important part. I can think of several things along the way. For instance, I did a little bit of the music thing too, Lotto, because I have friends that are in the industry. And so at one time I built a recording studio in Rochester. I don't know if you remember, Paul, where the lounge is. Okay, so I had built a recording studio, 2-room studio, real nice, and had a loft apartment in it and everything. And I got a call. We got a childhood friend. He's in the industry, DJ Green Lantern. He called me. He's like, everybody called me E or Team E. He's like, E, why are you doing this in Rochester? Like, you think people really gonna pay what it would cost for you to turn a profit? And he's like, I know you going hard at it, as far as making it, upscale. And I took heed to it. At that time, I really had the opportunity to go in with him and Drama at the studio they was doing in Atlanta, because I was living in Atlanta. And I thought about it. I'm like, man, you know what? That's right. I said, I was more so in it because I had friends in it. It wasn't necessarily like a love. I was just the business side of things that I was attracted to. So this is what I say, step on faith. I literally built it up. It was done, complete. I went in there with a bunch of my friends. We knocked everything down, and I turned it into a lounge. And the lounge has been open over 5 years now.
Wow.
In Rochester. So that's what I mean, stepping out on faith. And I just, I didn't think twice, because I already know I always bet on myself. You know what I mean? I 100% got full belief in anything that I do. And, we can talk for days. I don't want to make the show about me, but Paul, I really do a lot as far as the community, as far as my different endeavors. So,
So Eddie, I have a question for you. You said that you stepped out on faith, and I heard you say that I can't be afraid. You just have to believe in yourself, and you have to do it. So, there's always this conversation about faith and fear, right? Can they occupy the same space? Faith and fear, where really you kind of need both to make the faith happen. So I want to get you guys' perspective, because you guys are coming from a different level, even a spiritual level, I hear. So I'm interested to know, what is your idea about faith and fear occupying the same space? Is it possible?
I think it's possible, but the difference is, you can't just make a move just because. There has to be research behind it. You have to study. So when I'm making these moves, they're calculated. So I don't see it. There's no fear for me, because I've educated myself on what's necessary for me to be successful. Now it becomes fear when you might make a sudden move or something that there's no support behind it. Maybe it's a new industry you have no information about. So I think that's when it becomes fear. If you know what you're doing and you believe in yourself, it's a different conversation. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So what I like to delve into a little bit is because now I know Lotto, I think you're originally from Ohio, right?
Correct.
Right, from Ohio. Me and E are from Rochester, and I know we all grew up in kind of rough environments. And so growing up in rough environments and having the street influences in our lives the way that we have, but you guys have taken the street influences and been able to transition that into legitimate, thriving businesses, but still are able to connect with the common person from the hood. How did you guys make that transition from where you were to where you're at? And then how do you maintain it? Because I think a lot of people try to step out and they try business, but they have a hard time maintaining it because they dibble and dabble and go back and forth. So how did you guys make that transition? I know Lotto, how'd you make that transition?
I think what Eddie was saying earlier really is the centerpiece of this conversation. He brought up an excellent point. None of this exists without faith. And like if you understand, like, you know, in Genesis, you know what I'm saying, it talks about how the world was formed with a word, right? So if all of that is in him and he is in us, we should be able to do the same thing, right? Whatever our thoughts are and whatever our conversation is, so be it. So are we. As a man thinketh, so is he. Everything that exists outside of you must first exist inside of you, right? So from the car I drive to the clothes I wear to the people I surround myself with, it's what's inside my head. You could judge a lot about a person when you can see the people that they're around. You see where they at, the things that they're doing. You see where they are mentally. So all of that goes into what we believe we can do, right? Anything else goes against nature. When you say, hey, this is what I'm going to do, then you're going to do it. Now, it's like writing a book, writing a movie. You got to start at the end. As long as you know the end, the rest you're going to figure up to the end. You know what I mean? So when you know this is the goal, you got to put everything else in place. Okay, now how am I going to get it? It's not if I'm going to get it. It's how am I going to get it? And you got to wake up every day with that on your mind. And, you know, like the brother Eddie was saying before. So
let me say something real quick before I lose the thought.
Go on.
To piggyback on something you just said, Jay-Z says something that was, I'll never forget. He was like, everybody want to emulate the end result, but never the process.
Correct. That's a fact. That's a fact. And the process is ugly. The process is ugly, right? And a lot of times I've been along this journey, man. And I mean, some days I get up, I ain't had nowhere to go. Nothing to do. I remember getting a gym membership just so I would have somewhere to go every day, right? But I would be there networking. So I'm never not working on the goal. So then, you know, when you ask God to direct your steps, you may think you're supposed to be over here doing this like everybody else, and he'll take you through another door. And he's like, man, I came up in the gym. Imagine if I would have been over here doing what they thought I should be doing. And the thing is to follow your heart. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I pray, I ask for it. So if I'm over here, this must be where he want me to be. I'm supposed to be getting something out of it. What am I supposed to be getting out of this? Even the bad things that happen to you along the way, you can't look at them as bad things. You got to be looking at them like, okay, what am I supposed to be getting from this? You got to be able to see the God in everything. What am I supposed to be learning from this? And 10 times out of 10, it's done something to strengthen your game, catapult you to another level. You know what I'm saying? Having you looking at the game totally different, because nothing has to make sense along the journey. It only makes sense when you look backwards at it, never moving forward.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
He's preaching. I love it.
Definitely.
This is good stuff. Good stuff. So what do you tell the young people in the world who are mentally still developing, right? They haven't gotten to the maturity level, a lot of them, where they understand that you have to start with the end in mind, right? That the journey is going to be ugly. You're going to have some hiccups and some bumps in the road, and that's okay, because that's the way that's supposed to go. That's called life. So what do you tell these young people who are dealing with things that none of us have seen before, right? And they're discouraged, you know, mental illness, this anxiety in these young people is like ridiculous. How do you inspire them to know that there is another side and you can be great? How do you penetrate that spirit with them?
You know what? That's a very, very difficult conversation, because no matter what, the environment has such an influence on the kids. So you can drill into these kids whatever it is, but ultimately it's their decision that they're going to make based on that outside influence. I personally feel like the outside influence is so much more powerful than what anyone can say. So what I've done in life is I lead by example. And like, for instance, Paul and I are part of a foundation, and it's a beautiful thing because we come from the hood. right in these little projects. And it's probably in the last 20 years, the city we from probably is like I would say 12 or at least 15 out of the last 20 years been the murder capital of New York State per capita. But when the kids see us, they're like, man, y'all look like us, y'all dress like us, y'all giving away college scholarships to kids, y'all in the hood giving out turkeys and coats to students and things of that nature. And I think you give them hope that way. You know what I mean? So especially, I think you have to be well-rounded. You have to be able to step into a meeting and be confident with a suit on and be able to speak to a CEO of any company. And you got to know how to conduct yourself in the hood. You know what I mean? So I try to lead by example. And of course, I speak to the kids, but I speak to them in a different fashion because I personally feel somebody's going to do what they want to do. So I might just say, hey, listen, I made those decisions when I was your age as well. So I can understand it's going to come a point in time when you see that there's more. And I think that that's the levels in life. For instance, when you may have been playing in the street, you probably reach that level where you say, all right, it's more for me. It's more for me out there. Then the more for me might come from having kids. That's another level. Okay, I want to do X, Y, and Z because of my kids, or, so on and so forth. So it's different levels. And I just don't think that, for instance, no matter what my mom or dad may have said to me when I was younger, and, they're not around you 24 hours a day, you still was going to do what you was going to do. You know what I mean? So you have to have a strong mind, make good decisions. And I just keep that in mind. I don't drill it on a kid. I try to just give them a little bit of my experiences.
And I think that's a huge piece. Going back, modeling. They need to see us.
Now you
Go ahead,
now you
Paul.
think about business. So I think about this. Now, a lot of people, there's stereotypes out there that they'll say, I don't want to do business with Black people, because you're going to be late, because you're going to be unprofessional, because you're going to try to get a discount or a deal. So when we think about all of that, how do you guys establish a business and a brand where you're not just a Black business, but you're a business, and where you're a business where anybody wants? Why would somebody want to do business with y'all? Basically, why would I do business? Why would I want to rent an apartment or buy a house from you, E, or why would I want your construction company to do a project or job? And Lotto, why would I want to invest in your clothing line and purchase? How do I know that your clothing is going to get there in a reasonable time? Like, talk to me. Tell people what it's like to be a professional Black business person.
Yeah.
As far as me, I be the change that I want to see. So, you know what I mean? Like, I carry myself as such, and I target the people that most reflect my being. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm careful with who I target. So there's an energy behind what we do. There's an energy behind the meaning of the brand. There's an energy behind the quality and work that I put into what I do. There's an energy behind the pricing of the brand. And so I believe it commands a certain attitude and mentality that comes with it. And I think that we all should handle ourselves as such. And it's kind of like you teach people how to treat you, right? So you move like a peon, you get treated like a peon. You told them treat me like a peon because that's how you move, right? So I always look at not being a Black business, but being a great business, and then a Black business. You know what I'm saying? And I don't care who it is that I'm dealing with. I treat them like VIPs because that's how I want to be treated. So I used to work for a guy here in Atlanta. He had the #1 jersey store in the Southeast. He sold jerseys, memorabilia, stuff like that. The #1. Right. You remember everybody was wearing them Mitchell & Ness jerseys? We're talking about, this is a high-end consumer. We're talking about you know, the average jersey walking out of there is between $250 and $500.
You talking about downtown by the underground?
Coming through that door, right? I watched how he treated the people. I know I was one of his early customers. I know every time I came through there, he knew my name. He asked me about my family. He kind of set the bar. And because he treated me like that, I told all my friends about him. This is the guy. This is my guy. You understand what I'm saying? So he taught me how to treat him. And he grew his brand at the same time. These are things that I learned along the way that I use today in my business. So if that answers your question.
Yeah.
What about you?
I would say just having a superior product. So Paul made reference to I'm involved in real estate. I flip houses as well as we rent them out. And most times I never even meet my tenants. So it's funny when they actually meet me, because they'd be like, man, he's a brother. You know what I mean? A young brother. They'd be like, wow, they would have never thought.
You're not that young anymore.
I'm young. I'm forever young.
You're not that young.
And then I want to know why. After that, I want you to tell me why.
I'm young. I'm gonna tell you, but superior product. We go. One of my mottos is I don't rent it if I want to live in it, and that's just the bottom line. So I even got properties in the hood. You will go into them and be like, wow, But again, my occupancy rate is always high. So, but to answer your question, Erica, because they don't expect to see a young Black man probably with property of that magnitude, and Paul could support what I'm saying. Like we do a very, very good job, and it's just about having a superior product.
Yeah. But that's the norm, right? Unfortunately, that's the norm. You as a Black man, that's not the expectation. And so it seems as though you're different, or you broke the mold, when they realize this is a Black man. And unfortunately, that's the norm. And it goes back, I think, to the point that Paul was saying. Typically, the stereotype is don't do business with Black folks. They gonna be late. They not gonna be on time. Not gonna come through. All of that. And you two guys, it's proven that's not the case. Go ahead.
Let me say this too. You right typically, but like take something like Facebook, right? So I'll talk to certain people and they'll say, "Man, I had to get off of Facebook because." I'll go down my timeline and I'll see too much complaining, too much beefing, and stuff like that, right? I don't see that when I go down my timeline because I done got rid of them. Mm-hmm. You feel me? Like in life, I done got rid of them. So like whoever you see coming down my timeline, they got something positive to say. They tell you how to get some money. Right. Or, you know what I'm saying? Or look at my kids, something like that. But all that negativity, no, you get blocked. There's too many people in this world for me to have to deal with that. You know what I'm saying? So when you, right. Oh man, we ain't got to deal with Black people, Black people. I don't even know them kind of people. You feel me? They from my past, bro. And God put eyes in front of my head, not the back. So I don't even deal with them type of people. And if I sense it may be that type of issue, I'll leave that money on the floor and keep moving. You know what I'm saying? Because I think a good thing you were saying, Eddie, when you was talking about a superior product, I think that goes into protecting your energy because we ourselves are superior products. You know what I'm saying? We have been blessed enough to be able to do the things that we do, think the way that we think. We had something in us and we chose to obey it. We chose to do what most wouldn't do and be the example. We are a superior product. So with that being, and that's not without humility. So don't let me say it like that. So you got to protect your energy because you don't want anything to taint it. Mm-hmm. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
that's very true. And like I don't have any social media but an Instagram, and a lot of that is to protect my mind. I had a Facebook when you had to have an EDU. You know what I mean? And I just noticed that it was just so much negativity. So that's how I protected my mind. Like I don't read the newspaper. I don't watch the news because it's all story driven. It's driven by a story, what's going to get the most likes, views, all those different things. So I just monitor what I feed my soul. And for those reasons, like I don't care to have social media. And besides, I don't think it's enough hours in a day. Boy, it's different for people that's generating money and things of that nature from it. But me personally, it doesn't do anything for me, So that's how I protect myself, man. You always get people sending you screenshots. Look what's going on in this situation, that situation. I don't want to see none of that. What's the first things happen when you're watching the news? Oh, home invasion, this and that. You go and check it. Make sure my windows is shut. They make sure my doors is locked. It just changes your overall mood. So I try to just protect myself and just remove it totally from me. Just the second what you said, just remove that element from around me.
Right. Because, I always tell people you can choose not to participate.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's a choice. You don't have to deal with it. You can choose not to participate.
Let's talk about business, So, I want to say to the people that it's just so important to just believe in yourself. And, like stepping out on faith and just trying things, but you got to do the research. So many people hit me up about real estate because that's what I do. I got a passion for that. So I post that a lot. And so I get a lot of inboxes. People want to know about real estate. And it's just something I did when I was young. Actually, I think Paul and I, we were about, I'm going to say 18, maybe 19. No, we were 20. We were 20, P. And we started a hair salon. We started a hair salon barbershop. And we did it. We literally started it with like a refund from school. I think that's how we started the business. Mm-hmm. And we just made it happen. We did it. And I recall like the barbers would be late and not on time. We started learning how to cut hair.
Yeah.
It was
ugly
simple.
too. It was ugly. I remember.
I had Paul once.
I remember. I messed. I don't even want to tell the story.
I guess you started. You got to tell it now.
So, all right, so I'm gonna tell the story because it's funny. So it was a Saturday morning, and this guy came in. I think he was a Hispanic guy, and there was no barbers there. There were some girls in the chairs. They were doing hair, and they were all. And at this point in time, I didn't really know how to cut. Now I'm actually pretty good at it. So but so I didn't really know, but in my mind, I thought I could do it. Like this is easy. Like I could cut hair, no problem. I've been seeing it done for 20 years. And I've been, in my mind, I'm thinking I could do it. I practiced. I had one or two. So he comes in and he was fresh out of jail too. So a beard was out the hair was out the hair. And I don't know what possessed me to say, yeah, I'll cut his hair.
Because I was doing it. You felt like you could do it. Keep it real.
So it might have been. I'm competitive, so I hate for anyone to outdo me. So if he could do it, I could do it, and I could do it better. That's the way I look at it. So the guy gets in the chair, and the girls are looking. They start laughing, and I'm like, they're trying to hold it in and trying to maintain their business. And so he gets in, and I'm cut his hair down, and I'm not doing too bad. And then I start to fade it, and the fade starts going up, 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 and it's like up here. And it's like up right here, and then I'm sweating. So I'm about an hour and a half in, dripping sweat, and he's all jacked up. And I'm starting thinking in my head, I'm like, what am I going to do? Because I'm probably going to have to fight this dude now. We're going to have to fight because I done messed him up. And so I'm like, damn, I'm about to fight him, and I messed him up, and that's bad for business. So I said, I got to figure this out. I said, what am I going to do? Now, mind you, I'm looking back, and they dying laughing, almost on the floor laughing. So I think quick. And I think to myself, I said, yo, how can I avoid all this? How can I de-escalate? So I actually pulled him to the side. I pulled him outside. I said, yo, man, I said, you know what? I really don't know how to cut. I'm just learning. I said, but I'm going to pay for you to get your hair cut somewhere else. And so I paid for him to get his hair cut, and he walked away, and he was okay. And then I didn't touch no one else's head until years later when I actually practiced on a bunch of kids. I practiced on people's kids, and then I figured it out. But yeah, it was crucial, man. It was crucial. But I thought it was about to go down in there.
Let you cut his hair for an hour and a half. You know how hot them clippers was?
And I only got half the head done, and I'm sweating. I'm dripping sweat. Like I was playing basketball a lot. I got done hooping. I'm sweating. My underarms sweating. They was dying laughing.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you something though. I mean, that you talking about hair. I grew up cutting everybody's hair in the neighborhood. Everybody's hair on my football teams, even in college, cutting everybody's hair. I think we was talking about earlier where your confidence come from. I got a lot of confidence because I knew when you sat down in your chair, you got up, you was gonna be happy. And that's kind of like that's a real live confidence builder when you could do that to somebody. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can make a what were you saying?
Oh, no, I was saying, I've been there, done that. I remember, I was a cosmetologist. I got my license, right?
I didn't know that.
And so there's so much. I'm just, it's going to take days. So, it's what I did, and I was good at it, and the ladies were fine. And I was in high school, so got my license senior year. You have to work and go to school in order to get the A in the class, right? So I'm working, everything's great, and a man comes in, and he's like, I need a haircut. And I couldn't say, I've never cut a man's hair before, so Paul, I get it. Like, I'm sweating. It took me about an hour, and I felt so bad, but I did not pay for him to get his hair cut anywhere else. But I know I jacked him all up. I think about that man to this day. I wish I could find him so I could just apologize.
Oh, you let him walk out of there?
I did. And he was a white brother, right? I had never cut.
Hey, can I say this though, real quick?
It was not good.
So you asked a question earlier about how do you tell kids, about the drive and how do they keep reaching inside, right? One thing I would say to kids, and I didn't get to say it at the time, was always remember what you're good at. Because whatever your real gifts are, that's what you was blessed with. You know what I mean? You're supposed to use that in some capacity to sustain yourself. You know what I mean? Always remember what you're good at. So when I look back, when you was talking about, Eddie, you were talking about the contest, 5 out of 500. What was it, out of 500?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I did a contest like that. We were designing pumpkins in school, right? And just out of the whole school. But I won the pumpkin contest. We're talking about K through 6. I won, right? And I took a pumpkin and I made him into Mr. T. Shit was funny. Everybody thought it was funny. I won the contest. I didn't reinvent the wheel there, right? But I was creative enough to think, let me do something that they're familiar with, but put some art on it or whatever. I've always done that. You know what I mean? Like, even when it came to haircutting, when it came to just doing anything artistic, and I look back on it like, damn, I'm still doing that today. You know what I'm saying? But so I would always tell a kid, like, hey, at the core, remember what you were always good at, because that gift is never leaving. No matter what you go into for money, that gift is still there, and it's supposed to be cultivated on some level for you to sustain yourself and grow.
Right. And it's that saying, your talent can get you there, but your character will keep you there. Mm-hmm. And that's a fact. And that just goes back to what you guys were saying earlier about truly believing in yourself, stepping out on faith. The word courage came out. And without courage, it's hard to lead and it's hard to be great. You cannot be great unless you have the courage within yourself. So thank you guys.
So
it was awesome.
So in 60 seconds, both of you, I'm gonna give both of y'all 60 seconds. Give people who are listening some type of jewel, some type of tip. So if they want to be a business owner, or specifically a Black business owner, and they want to step out and do something, what can you give to them? What can you leave them with? I'm gonna give you 60 seconds. Who wants to start?
Hey, you can start.
Don't everybody jump at once.
I would say, just do your research so you could be confident in whatever field that it's in. Work on it's so many. This is it's tough to give this up in 60 seconds because there's so many different aspects. Like,
well, you got 30 seconds now.
Another important thing is credit. You know what I mean? Having good credit, working on your credit, building your credit. Just having the drive, knowing what you want in life and how you're going to get there. I always tell everybody you have to have a goal. The only way you can assess your progress is by having a goal. And then you assess your way, you assess yourself and your navigation towards your goal.
Good stuff. Thank you. Lotto?
I would say, just to piggyback on him, and you should research, but it's sometimes too much information may be separating you because, people get overwhelmed, you know what I mean? And I think it's best for you to just go with your gut. And, I would say keep grinding, don't quit, and don't stop.
And so
Beautiful.
I appreciate y'all. Thank you. We appreciate y'all. And just in closing, so a few closing thoughts. I think about it. If you believe it, you can achieve it. So if you want to be a business owner and you have a thought or you have a dream, how are you going to turn that dream into a reality? And it's about the time that you put in. So I know there's quite a few of us that have these aspirations, but instead of going to make that happen, you spend a lot of time on Facebook, or you spend a lot of time on Instagram, or you spend a lot of time playing the PlayStation, or, PlayStation 5 is coming out, I think tomorrow. And there's people that are going to spend countless days and nights doing that. But those same hours that you spend doing that, you could spend that time into doing the homework for a business. You could do the work that it takes to be your own brand. You can do the work that it takes if you spend and allocate that time correctly. So I would urge people to spend their time wisely, because that's the only thing that you can't get back. And, I also want to tell people that you need to support Black businesses, because the Black dollar is important. It is almighty, and we do have spending power. So, often when you see there's memes going around where it says that people will support Black people when they're saying, I got a new job. But then when they got a new business, they're not necessarily buying products for them, or they say, can I get a discount? And I would tell you that don't ask for a discount. What you need to do is pay full price for it and support that person the same way that you would support the other business in another culture. So I urge you to support Black businesses and put your time in the right places. So this is Vulnerable Voices, and we will be signing off. We will be around next week. I believe the topic is COVID changed the game. So we're going to talk a little bit about COVID and might even talk a little bit about the election and all kinds of different things next week. So stay tuned. We're going to be on Wednesday at 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central. So we appreciate our guest. Today, we're going to probably have you guys back at some time if you want to be with us again. And we'd like y'all to drop some more jewels. And we thank y'all for coming out. God bless you. Good night, as Russell Simmons would say.
All right, great meeting you guys.
Likewise. Let's take it easy.